Welcome and hello everyone to Learning History 101. Today's lesson is going to be on the Great Fire of Rome, and we're going to be talking about what it was, who started it, how did it happen, why is it important. All of these shall be answered in this video today. The Great Fire of Rome was a devastating event that started in July 18th in AD 64. It lasted 6 days, then reigniting again for another 3 days, till it was completely put out. A huge portion of the city was destroyed. But how did this great fire that almost burned down Rome completely start? There are a few reasons to how and why this fire happened. It began by the shops and slums near the city's most popular chariot racing stadium called Circus Maximus. Most of the buildings, such as the bakeries and the restaurants around the city, have open fires. Strong winds would have made it easy for the flames to spread from building to building, since most of them were close by to each other, due to narrow streets and buildings being made out of wood and flammable material. These things caused the fire to spread very quickly. But Rome did have some ways to combat the fire. Firefighters had some equipment such as fire retardants and manual water pumps to put out these fires. The city itself had many public water sources such as fountains, but due to a lack of plumbing, this water had to be hand carried. But in the end, the fire spread across 10 of Rome's 14 districts and destroying 3 of them. Many citizens died and became homeless as their houses burned down to the ground. But new measures were taking place in order to prevent future fires. Buildings were made out of non-flammable materials, such as baked bricks and concrete. They were built with more space to be kept apart from being so close. Even Emperor Nero, who ruled during this time, came up with some construction plans and laws to prevent future fires, such as new building codes that were placed that limited the height of buildings and restricted the use of flammable wood, and creating open areas in the city. But even after the Great Fire of Rome happened, rumors started to pop up about the real cause of the fire. This rumor was more directed towards the emperor at the time, Emperor Nero, who was believed to have started the fire, claiming that Nero, during the fire, sang while it burned, even playing the lyre, as some have said, fiddling while Rome burns. But reports from a historian named Tacitus claims that Nero had been outside the city at the time, saying that Nero dealt with the tragedy by pledging funds, contributing food, and temporary shelter for the victims of the fire. But Roman historian Titus reported saying that Nero sent men to start the fire, claiming also that Nero himself was insane and mentally unstable and violent and unconcerned with human life, who claimed that Nero started the fire because of his dislike of the city and desire to control it, to rebuild Rome in his own vision and image. But the cause of the fire wasn't just directed towards Nero, as he was seen unpopular among Roman citizens at the time. Nero himself started to blame the Christians for the destruction of Rome and the fire. This resulted in mass persecutions of Christians, such as arrests and killings of them in Rome. Many Christians died by many public executions and crucifixions under Nero. But overall, the Great Fire of Rome destroyed much of the city in the course of the 9 days that it burned. This event is important still in our world today because it shows us how much destruction fire can be when a society is unprepared to tackle it and allows the flames to burn down everything. Where Rome was almost completely burned to the ground, a great and powerful city and empire. Unlike today, where we have systems and equipment, men and women, to combat and prevent these fires, it also shows how much this event affected Christians during that time, as Nero put the blame on them and started to persecute them. How much something like this can have a great impact in the world and on a specific group of people. Just think about the few things that occur today that can be similar to what happened in Rome. It's important to realize this because some Christians, even today, are still being persecuted by their faith. And that is the story of the Great Fire of Rome.